Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. Today, it's time for Taroscopes. Yes, Taroscopes for the sign of Gemini. That's Gemini Sun, Gemini Moon, Gemini Rising for the month of March 2024. Now, of course, February was very active month, very transformational month, a little bit crazy. Although I honestly, I can't think of a month that hasn't been a little bit, well, everything has been intense and it's just intense in all different ways. March is a little bit different. March is a little bit of an ease in the in the progression of things, but of course not that much because this is the age that we're in. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the astrology. Oops, sorry, that's annoying. Oop, that's not going to work yet. Okay. I have a little tassel that's like floating around up there. Anyway, we're going to look at the month of March for you, astrologically, Gemini, and then we're going to pull an oracle card, and then we're going to do a tarot reading. So let's get started with the astrology. This is general astrology for Gemini, and so if you want something more specific, you can always get a personal reading with me. I will not reach out to you for the personal reading. You have to reach out to me, and you can purchase one of those on my website, thesiegestransformation.com. All the information will be below in the drop down menu. So let's get started with Gemini. Alrighty. All right, let us start. Now let me just get to Gemini. I realize I'm not in Gemini. Let's go to Gemini, Gemini, Gemini. Oh, almost went too far. Okay, so Gemini is a mutable air sign, mutable air, changeable Gemini, right? All the mutable signs deal with our ability to learn. And so we are learning. We are all learning. If you're a Gemini, you are learning in this lifetime. Your mantra is I think, and of course, your ruling planet is Mercury. Mercury. Now, this year, oops, excuse me, I went in the wrong direction. There we go. This year is an 8 vibration year, 2024, which means that the predominant energy is the strength card in astrology. On the tree of life, this is on the path between the Sephiroth of expansion and the Sephiroth of cutting away the extraneous. So there's a real balance that's happening this year, excuse me, and it's also a year of as you sow, so shall you reap. So we have to keep that in mind. Now, as a Gemini, Leo falls in your third house. So this is going to be a very intellectually, informationally, and mental year for you. Now, luckily, this month we do not have a Mercury retrograde. Actually, Mercury goes retrograde on April 1st, just to fool us all, right? But we're not looking at April. We are looking at March. So we start the month. You can see here that there's a lot of energy for you in your 10th house. See all those blue planets up there in the 10th house. We start the year actually this sun should be over here. It should not be there. It should be over here. Oh, wait a minute. Oh no, it is over here. It's the wrong color. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm having a moment. So we start the month with a lot of energy in that 10th house. Your 10th house is your house of career and public standing. So there's a lot of attention being paid to you this month. And so be aware of that because people are going to notice for you. Okay, let's go week by week to see what aspects are prominent. Week 1, We start the month with a sextile between the Sun and Jupiter. These are the two largest planets in our solar system. Sextiles, waning sextiles, as it were, are aspects of progressive change, and so this is an opportunity for us to move in a more humanitarian direction. On the third, Venus, which at this point, at the beginning of the year, is still in Aquarius, in your ninth house, your house of truth, is square Uranus. Uranus, yes, Uranus. Uranus is in Taurus. Uranus is in Taurus for 7 years. It started in 2018. It will end in 2020. This is the last year Uranus is completely in Taurus. Next year it goes in and out of Taurus and Gemini, I believe. So, but it's been in your 12th house for a long time now. And so Uranus in the 12th house can sometimes brings flashes of intuition, visions. It can also bring a lot of anxiety, so you may be feeling a little bit more anxious than you have. But that is, part of the cycle here. On the third, Venus, oh yeah, I said that Venus makes that last quarter square. That's what we were talking about. This is a crisis in consciousness square, questioning authority, rebellious. You're going to feel rebellious. You're going to feel like you don't want to follow the rules. Some rules are meant to be rebelled against and some aren't. So you do have to be discerning about who you're pushing against and what you're pushing against. It needs to be thought out. It needs to be thought out. On the 4th, Mercury makes a sextile to Uranus. This is a progressive side sextile. This is moving in the direction of progressive thinking and also outside of the box thinking. And so you can actually have some really good information coming in through that 12th house. Your guides have things to say about it, about you and about perhaps the direction that you need to take. So pay attention to any promptings you're getting from Spirit. On the 8th, Mercury makes a conjunction to Neptune. This happens in your 10th house. Mercury conjuncts Neptune every year. Neptune has been in Pisces for a long time. This is going to happen in Pisces. This can be a little bit of a confusing day. You may not, just be careful about what you say at this time, because it can be misconstrued or people don't get a clear idea of what's being said, because Neptune has a tendency to obfuscate. But it's also an opportunity for us to connect with spirit. So perhaps whatever you hear, whatever you want to say, you may just need to say it to yourself. Write it down for a better time to reveal what is revealed to you. On the 9th, Mars makes a last quarter square to Uranus. We had the Venus last quarter square to Uranus. Now Mars follows suit. The difference is Mars tends to be much more dangerous as it squares Uranus. Uranus, we have to expect the unexpected. Mars can be aggression, but the square in itself is a rebellious square, and it is about breaking out of the old sort of paradigm into more of an unknown future. So there's that energy. It's really the urge of wanting to free yourself on a certain level from the rules. So you do have to, again, be discerning about what rule. There are rules that are good rules that are necessary for order to keep us out of chaos, but then there are those more oppressive rules that could use a little bit of a of a redo. Okay, so again, we have to, this is one of those months where you have to be discerning about what you're fighting against, what you're fighting for. If you just want to just fight against something for the sake of fighting, or you're not being detailed enough in the way that you fight against something, you can get into some trouble. So be aware of that. On that day, we also have a sun making sextile to Uranus. This is actually a nice energy. So Mars, your actions are you need to watch, but something will be illuminated. And that's okay. Something does get illuminated. Maybe you need to say something. Maybe you need to say before you act. That might be helpful for the ninth. And then we also have Mercury, the planet of communication, ingress into Aries. So the first planet into Aries is Mercury, And of course, Mercury is how we communicate. Aries tends to be very instinctual. It is moving over a world point. The first degree of Aries, as the first degree of all the cardinal signs, is a world point. So we will definitely hear something, and something will be said, and we're probably going to learn something. That actually, the Mercury moving into that house is the house of groups um, and friends. And so maybe you need to reach out to somebody of like mind at that time. Week 2, we start with the new moon at 21 degrees of Pisces. This is happening in your 10th house. This is a good time to plant seeds for a new project, perhaps, maybe even a new career, or a new project in your career. Pisces is very, very much a mystical sign. It's interesting because Gemini, as direct as you can be and mental as you can be, you're not always seeing clearly. um, Gemini tends to see both sides of things. You don't necessarily discern the good from the bad. You just sort of put it next to each other for everybody to observe. Not only are you trying to learn things, but you're also probably trying to help us learn things, right? And so we can run into trouble with that sometimes. But this is a time where, and the day of the new moon is a 21-3 day, which is a manifestation day. So this is a really powerful day for manifestation, for career, for you. We also have Mercury on that day making a sextile to Pluto. This is a deep mind. Now, your Mercury ruled, so whenever Mercury makes an aspect to any of the planets, it especially affects you. This is a communication with the depths, from the depths of your soul. On the 11th, Venus, the planet of love, moves out of your 9th house. It's in Aquarius, it moves into Pisces. Venus is exalted in Pisces. This is a really good energy for you, for your career. Venus in there. People like you. You're more likable when Venus is in there. Not that you're not likable, but Venus always sort of puts that little shine of beauty and a little bit of glamour on things. And so this is a really nice energy. You can maybe make some friends, meet somebody out in the world. Just it's a nice energy. It's creative. It's empathetic. There's a lot of empathy with Venus and Pisces. There's a lot of beauty, and there's a lot of compassion. So you may even be seen as more compassionate. Not that you weren't before, but people actually see it because Venus is up there shining bright, shining bright. All right. Week 3, week 3. So week 2 is not too bad. This is a little bit of a respite week with the new moon and the sextile of Mercury and Pluto and Venus ingressing into Pisces. So if there is a week better than other weeks, this might be the week where you can actually just sort of kick back a little bit and rest or enjoy yourself. Week 3, the 17th, that's St. Patrick's Day for those who celebrate. We have the Sun conjunct Neptune. As with Mercury conjuncting Neptune or any other planet conjuncting Neptune, Neptune tends to obfuscate. So this is a time where your conscious awareness can be somewhat clouded. And if you're drinking green beer, that could be why. So not that you shouldn't enjoy yourself, just be careful, be circumspect, make sure that you have plans in place so that you can stay out of harm's way with this, because people aren't seeing too clearly with this. But it can be a very spiritual time, so we can't exclude that possibility. On the 19th, the sun ingresses into Aries. This is the first day of spring in the northern hemisphere, the first day of fall in the southern hemisphere. It's when the light is equal. We have equal day and equal night. So there's a sense of balance at this time. The sun moves out of the watery realms of Pisces and bursts forth into Aries. Aries is the energy of being. We are becoming. So what are you becoming? This is your 11th house. What are your new goals? What are your plans? What groups do you want to move into? Remember, the North Node is in Aries. So the sun is getting closer to the North Node, and we are going to have a full moon this month let's see, when does that happen? That happens week 4, and it's going to be an eclipse. So as soon as the sun moves into the sign of the node, we can start to feel that energy of change. And eclipses always bring change. Eclipses always bring change. On the 21st, the sun makes a waning sextile to Pluto. This opens the lines of communication. We're moving in a more progressive direction. Pluto is about our desires, our shared resources. The sun is about illuminating these things. And so this is a time when we can actually make the world a better place, honestly. At the same time, we have Venus make a conjunction to Saturn, same day. That happens at 13 degrees of Pisces. If you want more information about what these degrees mean and the Sabian symbols associated with them, you can check out my Astrology and Kabbalah of March 2024. That information is in that video. This is just a general sort of look at the energies of the month, not getting too deep into the details of the astrology. On the 22nd of March, Mars ingresses into Pisces. Now, Mars has been in Aquarius, right? It moved into Aquarius. It conjoined Pluto. It joined up with Venus last month I think it was the last week of last month. And we started a whole new cycle of how to relate to one another in a very Aquarian way, as it were. But now Mars dives into the watery realms of Pisces. Now, Mars is not that happy in Pisces. It's very Mars like straight lines. I don't know if you've ever seen a fish move in a straight line, but they generally do not. But Mars in Pisces is the energy of the spiritual warrior, the healer. When you have a Mars in Pisces, you can feel a little at sea. But when you find your spiritual purpose, then you're like then you're really flying. Then you're as soon as you find your spiritual purpose with Mars and Pisces, you are in alignment. You are in alignment. So Mars, of course, is going to be in that 10th house. So your actions will be seen. And so go with the flow. Mars and Pisces asks us to go with the flow. It's important that you do that. Week 4, we start with Venus making a sextile to Jupiter. All the sextiles that are happening at this time of the year are sextiles that bring progressive change. Jupiter and Venus being the benefics in astrology, we can see people who need the help actually getting the help. People who need the help get the help. And I think that we all want to see that at this point. On the 25th, we start eclipse season. This is when we have the full moon lunar eclipse at 6 degrees of Libra. This is happening in your 5th house. with the sun in your 11th house. This is the axis of love, guys. This is the axis of love. So you might actually suddenly have, you might fall in love with, it could be a personal love or it could be an impersonal love. You could find a friend or you could find a lover with this energy. Something comes to fruition with the full moon. And this is part of the synodic, this is part of the lunation, excuse me, the lunation cycle that began with that new moon in Pisces. The fruition of that happens in the 11th and the 5th house, which is the axis of love. Um, and so perhaps what you need to plant at that new moon in Pisces is doing what you love and having that be your career. Okay. On March 28th, Venus makes a waning sextile to Uranus. Again, all the sextiles, these waning sextiles we have at this time of year, all move us in a more progressive direction, and hopefully we can make the most of that energy, because progressivism is the way forward. Progressivism is an Aquarian ideal, and we are in the Aquarian age, guys. Pluto is in Aquarius now, and while it will visit back into Capricorn at the in the fall, the future is an Aquarian one. Okay, so the more work we can do lining up the connections that we can make with others of like mind, to get things done for the benefit of all people, the better off we're going to be. The sooner we get into that mindset, the faster it's going to happen. And perhaps maybe we can start saying goodbye to the old power over dynamics that seem to be in our face every moment of every day. All right, so that is the astrology. Now let me stop the share here. So I am using a deck, an oracle deck called the Mystic Sisters Oracle deck by Emily Balavet. Whoops, whoops, whoops. I almost dropped them all on the floor. This is the deck. She's one of my favorite artists. Oh, there you go. I dropped something or something. Well, at least I didn't drop the cards, right? I just dropped the box. Cards come in. And we'll just pick one card. This will sort of be an overriding energy for the month for you. See what the goddesses have, the mystic sisters have to say to you. And then we'll do a card reading using the Illuminati deck. Why not, right? Illuminate with the Illuminati deck. All right. Okay. Excuse me a second. I got an itch. Ooh, I got an itchy eyeball. All right. Let's see here. Gemini, 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 Gemini. Oh. All right. Urania. Urania. And these beautiful cards. Astronomy. Astronomy, astrology. Okay, Urania. I'll hold it up while I read this for you so you can look at the card. Philosophy, knowledge, and intelligence. Urania is the ancient Greek muse of astronomy. Her energy is directed toward endless expansion of the mind. She represents the enthusiastic and dedicated student with an unquenchable thirst for knowledge. When we take the opportunity to expand our knowledge of any particular subject, an interconnectedness of all truths can be recognized. When drawn, Urania encourages you to travel in your mind, imagine other possibilities, and playfully philosophize about alternative reality maps. She encourages further education or using the knowledge you've already obtained to its fullest potential. To its fullest potential. And if anybody has a mind to it, it's you, Gemini. All right. Okay. Let me see. Now we're going to be using the Illuminati deck. Let me grab that and give it a good shuffle. So these readings are general readings for the sign. If you want something more specific astrologically, you can always get a reading with me. The links are below for that. You can, see if this reading resonates with you. You may go, no, I don't think that's for me. Or you could check it out later in the month to see if perhaps you changed your mind about that. As with all readings, you have free will. Nothing is written in stone. No matter how convincing I may sound, we always have the option with our choices. So nothing really outshines your intuition about things. You have to trust your own intuition first and foremost. Okay, hold on. I just dropped the first card. Okay, here we go. All right, we start with the Queen of Pentacles. So the queens in the tarot are the sustainers of the element, and Pentacles is our resources. And so you understand the resources that you have. You understand your own resourcefulness. You understand your own strengths, and you take steps to maintain that. Let's see what the challenge is to that. Your challenge is not to get caught up in worrying about losing it. This card can be somebody who holds on too tightly and blocks their heart. So while you understand the value of money, you understand that you need it, what you need it for, and how important it is in your life, you do not want to let it get in the way of your heart. Okay? You have to make a decision. There's a decision to be made. At the root of this is the Ace of Swords. This is the Ace of Truth. I mean, the Sword of Truth, the Ace of Swords. A decision needs to be made. Let's see what the past says. There we have success in the past, happiness, family, gatherings, weddings. This is a really nice card. So the past has been rather fun for you. Let's see what's in the sky. The Prince of Pentacles, more pentacles. I think what Spirit is trying to say, because that's what the skies card always speaks to me of what Spirit is trying to say, is that pay attention to the seeds that you planted. Perhaps it's about just protecting the new ideas. There are new things sprouting. You need to take things maybe a little more slowly, okay? Maybe where you want to plant your seeds, make sure that wherever you're planting your seeds, that you're planting them in fertile soil. That's what's coming through to me. Looks like you're going to be hiding out most of the month, which is maybe not such a bad idea, although you do have that 10th house full of Pisces. So as much as you might want to, you might not be as hermitish as you would like, but this is also about shining your light. So this is about sharing your knowledge. It's real important this month that you share your knowledge, and it's the knowledge of the path that you've taken. It's your own personal path here. It's your own path to wisdom. Spirit wants you to share that. How it's seen from the outside, that you're dissatisfied. There's a certain amount of dissatisfaction. People see you as a little bit dissatisfied with the status quo here. Okay, domestic situation. Movement. So we get some movement. You might be moving. Are you moving? Your domestic situation, you're moving your home. perhaps. Yeah, this can also be around your car. So if you're not moving, get your car checked. Like, or maybe you're buying one of those um houses that you drive around in. I forget what you call Winnebagos, something. That may be something that you house on wheels, right? House on wheels. So that may be the decision you make. Perhaps the decision that you make is to move, is to move. Oh. Hopes and fears, nostalgia. You're wishing it was as easy as it used to be. Of course, when you were a kid, people were taking people were taking care of you. That's always nice, right? Or hopefully, not everybody has that experience. The outcome is the Seven of Wands. It says hold your ground, protect yourself. There is this need to protect your assets. There is a need to protect your assets. Huh. Let's see if we can get a major arcana. Justice. So justice is calling. So if you have nothing, if you've been on the up and up and you haven't been doing terrible things, illegal things, you have nothing to worry about. If you have something to worry about. And you guys know who I'm talking about, right? With this Gemini energy. But for the most part, things are going to balance out. Things are going to balance out. Let's look what's underneath. People who are doing things behind your back or will be caught. New beginnings and judgment. This is the awakened soul. So again, with the justice card and the judgment card coming up, if you have been on the wrong side of things, this is a month that you get called out on that. But if that's not what you've been doing, this is a month of um, new. It's there's two aces in this month, so it is about starting something new. It starts with a decision. It starts with you moving on something, but you need to protect yourself while you're doing that. There's this energy of protection that is necessary. And I don't feel like you have to protect yourself because somebody wants to necessarily hurt you, but I do feel like it's protection because people either aren't going to like what you have to say, or maybe you're prognosticating for the future a little bit and nobody wants to look at it. So that's sort of the feeling I get here. Um, but this is about, Uranus says, expand your mind. And very, very much Gemini, one of Gemini's greatest abilities and talents is their curious their curious mind. But decisions are being made, and the sword of truth is underneath it all. You really need to find your truth, and you need to stand in your truth this month and stand in your truth and stand in your wisdom. It's more about what's important to you than what other people are saying, either about you or telling you what to do. All right, that's the story, Morning Glories. Have yourself a great month. Like and subscribe if you could. If you'd like to support my work, I do have a Patreon channel. The link is below. If you would like a astrology, numerology, Kabbalah reading, I do offer those. You can get those on my website. The link is below for that. I am right now in the midst of finishing up a Kabbalah class and a beginner's astrology. If you've taken beginner's astrology, I am doing moving on to a more intermediate uh, uh, class. It's still beginners. We're going to be looking at the asteroids, Chiron, the lunation cycle. It's going to be a good class. That is starting in March. And I'm also, if you've taken my beginner's Kabbalah class and you'd like to continue your studies with me. There is another class coming up for that. And if you'd like to learn about Kabbalah and you haven't done it and you'd like to take the beginner's class, I'm going to be starting that in May. So you can actually get in the queue. You can be put on the list for the class. And when May rolls around, um, you can join us. So that's what's happening here most recently. All right. Have yourself a great month, and I will see you again for the Taroscopes for April. It's a little bit of a resting month, so April promises to be another zing bang zoom kind of month. So rest up for April. Take care, everyone. Namaste.